fellow nerds, and welcome to Nerd Doom, where we explode with a conversation about anime, gaming, and nerd culture. I'm Addie, and I have with me tonight Mel.
Hi.
And I also have with us Hannah.
Heyo.
So before we begin everything tonight, if you want to see more stuff like this and content from our guests, check the description below. Also, check out our Discord, Nerd Camp, that's nerd with a 3, to hang and talk with others about stuff. Link is also provided in the description below for that Discord. So yeah, evening, ladies.
Hello.
Hey.
What's going on?
Not a whole lot. So
It is
we have
thundering.
It is Florida thundering.
Oh, like crazy.
Hopefully you can hang out with us pretty long tonight, and that
We're
just
gonna
kinda
see
makes
how
a lot of
long it
noise.
lasts.
So before your internet decides to go kaput, okay, bye, kunai. I heard that. Oh, yeah.
This is what I've been dealing with. Oh no. Come here, Ezreal, come here. Yes, okay.
Oh, Nora would be on top of you in a heartbeat after that one. All right, so let's distract you here from all that noise with our discussion tonight of, I guess, art in the art community during this trying time that has befallen us all, that is the pandemic. I think it's safe to say that all three of us have a different level and skill for art, in varying degrees depending on what category of art. Hannah, you I would classify as professional because you are selling and making
Super
money
professional.
from your wonderful art.
Super professional.
Well, thank you.
I like to think of myself as intermediary. Like, I draw for a hobby, an occasional commission whenever I do randomly get one.
Yeah, you're a hobbyist. You're not intermediary. You're a hobbyist artist.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that. And then Mel, drawing-wise, I feel like you're beginner or novice.
There's certain things that I feel like I can do okay, and then there's other things I'm like, how do I do that? I don't even know. Like,
How do?
I feel like that's universal, though.
Yeah, I mostly just do it for fun. I still have a tendency to do like a lot of tracing, but I've gotten lately I have not drawn just because like I don't feel like it. I love to do it lately, just with everything going on. Literally my like creativity spark is just like zapped. I don't know if that's one of your topics on here, but like I feel like more
it
so
coincides perfectly.
Yeah, I just feel like more so with what's going on. It's very much like I don't feel motivated to do anything like creativity wise. Like it's very hard to be motivated.
I have found that it is very hard to be motivated occasionally. I think for me it's just whenever inspiration hits and I'm like, I kind of want to draw whatever subject or topic comes to my mind. I know you're really good at painting, especially when it comes to miniature figures.
Yeah, it's so fun. I love it. I do that. We've been doing that a lot. We're probably going to start streaming some of that at some point because that's how much we enjoy it. Jeffrey says I do the people very well. And he does creatures very well. So I was like, okay, I'll do people, and I guess you do creatures, and we'll just do them at the same time. So
I feel like you should also have a night, like if you start doing to that, like switch out where one of you does a creature and the other one does the person, and see that comparison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll probably do it together. Like it'll probably be something we do together. I just haven't figured out when we're gonna start doing that yet.
So kind of go back to like how you've been feeling, kind of like how we both described like how drawing comes to us. Hannah, obviously your store relies on your ability to go, I'm going to draw this now. Do you ever have moments where you're like, no, I'm not going to art today?
Yep, absolutely. It's, as you guys have described, just like minutes earlier, it's the burnout from just like, well, what else am I supposed to do? Because we have all of this like stress coming down on us, and my hobby would be, to get out of stress would be to draw. But now that that's my job, it's like, well, that's just more stress. I have to draw or I'll starve, So
yeah,
I don't want to. I get tired of drawing, so I'm just like, today I'm just gonna sit on my ass and play video games, but that doesn't pay the bills. So,
so it could. I mean, if you wanted to go down that route,
but not for me. I play on baby mode, so nobody wants to watch me play that.
That's fair. I do too.
I'd watch you play baby mode.
So how, from a standpoint of, I guess, from all of our levels in art, how do you feel like, I guess, this pandemic has changed or affected the art community? And that can be from anything from writing, painting, drawing to professional drawing, which selling. Like, how do you feel it affected it?
Well, I've seen a lot of people express this sort of mentality of, well, I was going to go to, I was saving up my money to go to this particular convention at this time. So, but now I have all this money that I saved up for this particular convention that I'm not going to spend there. So show me what you've got in your virtual stores. It opens it up more to a wider audience of people who might not have had that exposure at that particular time. So it's a good thing for like a wider variety of artists to get their work seen, but at the same time, it's more competition because now everybody's being seen at the same time, as opposed to only competing with about 50 or other artists at one particular convention for all of these people's money. So I like the fact that you can like sell your stuff to literally anybody in the world at any time, because they're like, well, we can't go to conventions, so where are we going to spend this money that we set aside for conventions? But like, it's also harder in a different way. It's,
right.
I mean, it's nice. I feel like people are more willing to spend money on artwork if they understand the fact that the arts are particularly affected by this pandemic, because the arts are getting shut down more than anything else. So they're like, well, artists are going to suffer the most, so I want to give artists. Did I freeze?
More. No, you're good.
Okay. Artists, they're thinking artists are going to suffer the most, so they want to give, as much support as they can to artists. So there's sort of two schools of thought on.
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of answered a question I was going to ask a little later on, but we can probably dive more into it as well.
Sorry.
But no, it's fine. There's no real order to this. I just have pointers to kind of remind myself. Well, what do you think, Mel? Like, from a hobby standpoint?
I think I pretty much kind of agree with what Hannah was saying. It definitely seems like I know a lot of people who are like, I was going to go to this con. And so now that I can't, and now that all the artists like Artist Alley and like vendors and stuff are putting a lot or as much as they can of their stuff online, then they're like, oh, cool. I can still get stuff that I want and like look at, things to buy without actually having to go, and then I'm saving money because I'm not getting a hotel and I'm not buying food for that whole like weekend or whatever. So I know some people who have kind of gone like crazy and they like buy way more than they normally would, like when they're at a con, because they don't have to worry so much about the like, okay, I gotta have enough to eat,
The hotel, the food.
Yeah. So, and then I feel like there's other people who, as far as the ones who are supporting themselves on arts and things, like my cousin, he does music and he was hit very, very hard because it was like
the one we saw, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was hit really, and thankfully he had another like side job that kind of had to become his full time so that they could be okay. But like for people like that who they rely on like gigs, I feel like it kind of can be even harder for them because like if you have, you know, your songs and stuff that you release and you get a certain amount, but then you have these gigs and they tend to, you only doing it one time or whatever, but it pays more from getting that gig. And so you have to, but when you can't get them, then it's like, oh no. And if you're not having, let's say you haven't released new music in a while, and so you're not really getting as much of like revenue in from your songs, like it hurts.
I imagine. I've seen a few people that are like, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah, and then I have another friend who she also does art, and it's more like it's not her full-time job, but it could be. Like, she did a painting for me, and it's gorgeous. But she kind of, I asked her to do my commission in like February, like beginning of February, like right before all this crap started here.
Yeah,
and,
I remember that.
And she got it done. And then I'm pretty sure she maybe did like 2 more or 3 more commissions after me, but they were all done, I think, relatively within like before the end of March. And since then, from what I know, she's been like, I don't want to do anything. Like, she is like, it has killed her, like, just creative, like,
when you say like she doesn't want
spark.
to do anything, is it because? Oh, okay, I was gonna say because like it's because of everything. So I guess it's killed it, or she's just like too stressed, or.
It's because it's for her, it's too stressful. Like, everything has just been with all this going on and shipping and all this stuff being like, you know, the post office and all that being like nuts, that it's so much added and Hannah would know. It's so much more added stress that like literally she made a status the other day on her Facebook talking about how like, I hate that it was a meme, but still it was like, I hate that basically this has like killed my creativity. And I was like, it hurt to read it because I know like she actually meant that. And I was just like, no, Stephanie, no.
I'm seeing a few of those, but I'm also seeing a few people who have turned around and like, these are people who've never really done anything artistically, or if they have, it's just been like on the side because they could. But now that they have all this time, be it because they're working from home or they unfortunately don't have a job, but they do have a means of an income, they're being more artistic, and I guess they're using it as a coping mechanism. I don't know if you've been to Michael's recently, but apparently they have like a $5 random box. Oh,
no, I haven't been to Michael's lately. I love Michael's.
I do too. I need to go eventually. But
I love all the craft stores. I'm a sucker.
I feel like they've like at the very beginning of this whole thing, when everybody was like locked up, if you will, like craft stores became like the place to go. Now Joann's being a fabric store and the other fabric like store, don't die, no.
Just choking on water, it's fine.
They got hit up hard because, you know, people are like, oh well, I can make my masks now. But then you got people who are like, let me cope by drawing or painting or randomly doing this. I saw one video where the person was like, I made this random abstract style painting and sold it on eBay and for like $2,000 something or some ridiculous amount of money. Whether that was real or not, I don't know. So I saw a lot of people start just like randomly going out and buying canvases and paints and like, here's my abstract art, let's see what happens.
You know, it's funny. Yeah. You know, it's funny. So I have another friend. Well, first, let me back up. A while back, I bought a bunch because I paint anyways, like you said, with minis and stuff. So I have acrylic paint like everywhere, because I have like hundreds of minis. So, I was like, I'm going to try. I saw someone. This is way before all this stuff happened, probably like almost 9 months ago. And they were doing like the pour painting and stuff. And I was like, dude, that looks so fun. I want to do it. But then, so I was like getting some of the stuff to do it, but I still haven't done it yet. But I still have all the material. And then a friend of mine the
Do
other
you have,
day.
like, the liquid acrylic?
Oh yeah, I got straight up like the mixer and like
Okay.
I have everything for it. I just haven't done it yet. I want to get together with like maybe both of you and just like go to town one day. I think it would be so fun.
Hey,
But
I'll get my
I
dream
got
clothes
all
and
the
we'll do it.
stuff. Yeah, I got all the stuff for it. But I still haven't done it yet. And here it is, like 9 months later, and now I just have the stuff, but I haven't actually tried it yet. But then a friend of mine, she went out, got all the stuff, and then she just started, and she's done. I want to say maybe she got the stuff like 2 weeks ago, and she's already made like 15 different like pour paintings, and they look amazing. And I'm like, how did you do that? You just started. It's crazy. Like, and she's just, I guess it's her, like, you know, it's been a stress reliever for her, but she just like, she went to town, man. And she
Oh, I
started
bet.
selling them. Like, and I'm like,
Has she been
dang.
successful yet? Has she been successful with them yet?
I don't know how it's gone, like selling wise. I've seen her post them. She just posted them on like Facebook to her friends and stuff. But I know she sold like one, so I hope it goes good for her. Like they look awesome. She's even got some. Like she started to get fancy with it. Like throw the gold, you know, the gold little flakes and stuff in there. Like it's just she getting fancy now.
What about your story, Dan? Have you seen an uptick since this whole thing started in sales for you, or do you feel like it's just been about average?
No, I'm pretty sure there's been a significant uptick in sales with I mean, just because you're locked up inside doesn't mean that you can't make eat-it bags. That's something you can do all by yourself. So, you know, my bread and butter is keychains, which, you know, people will say, well, is that the only thing you can do? Well, bitch, it pays my bills. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, your art's really good to the point, like, if you really wanted to branch out, you can easily do prints, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
I want to do prints and, like, pillows and all those other sorts of fun things.
Hannah, make me pillows. Make me pillows to decorate my couch.
It's so hard to find companies and resources and, like, places to get things made and done with everything that's getting shut down because of the pandemic and everything that's slowed down because of the pandemic and all the, like, it's just, now is not the time to go looking for new things. So I've just been sticking with what I know, what I can do, and it's been doing really well because, again, of the mentality of people being like, well, I can't go to a con, but I still have to shop for Christmas presents. So I'm going to look on, you know, Etsy for the things that I would look for at a con. It's like, oh, wow, this person has a lot of, you know, Dragon Age or The Witcher or whatever it is that they're looking for. So people are more willing to buy, you know, bulk orders because they're like, well, I get free shipping if I do that. And I would have bought these anyway if I went to a con. So it's like, yeah, awesome. I'm usually, like, last year, I think it was something like 2 orders per day, something like that, average. And this year it's like 20 orders every couple of days. It's like,
oh wow,
it's a lot better. Yeah.
That's awesome, though. I'm happy for you.
I saw a video of a content creator who she created a book. She authored a book, had it edited and everything, and then had it published. And she put it out there on the internet, mostly on the platform of TikTok, and was like, hey, I made this book. And unfortunately, I don't know what the subject was because I just randomly came across it. And bless her heart, apparently she sold out in like the first 5 hours of the release of this book. And you just see a video of her like at her desk and just like a line of postal stamps printing out from her machine. She's like, I had to ask my friend for another roll because her friend does selling online too.
Nice.
And then I've seen at least 2 or 3 content creators that are like, I'm sold out.
Yeah, see?
That's
people
awesome,
are more willing to go online to find these things, and then they find more things because they're looking online instead of just depending on, well, what is being sold at the cons in my area. So they're like, I would never have found this shop if I had just gone to the cons in my area, but since I'm, you know, I have to look online because I don't have the option of going to my local cons. Now I'm finding all this stuff that I would never have found anyway.
Yeah.
No,
So
do you think that mentality is partly from, sorry, Mel, hang on. Do you think that mentality is partly from, ooh, look at this is cool, I want it, or, ooh, look at this is cool, I also want to support you?
A little of both, I think.
it's both. Yeah, I think it's definitely both. Like, because I know there's some people who, you know, they're just like, they've got that, like, you know, collect, like they love to just collect nerdy stuff, you know, and I mean we all do, you know, but
yeah.
And so they'll be like,
"Ooh,
I've never, like, I don't have anything like that. That's cool. And then they'll get it. And then I think especially when I feel like when this first started and people were realizing how many people of the arts was getting affected, then I think it was more like in the beginning, it was very much like, I should get this because I feel like they're going to need help and I like their stuff. I don't always get it, but I'm going to get it now when it really matters. Like, I think that's happened a lot too.
Yeah.
Because people have understood, like, oh, they've watched businesses and things like small businesses and stuff get shut down. And so they're like, well, I don't want that to happen to my favorite such and such, you know? So then they go and they just buy it because they're like, I don't care. Like, I want them to keep making stuff. So I'm going to go get their things to support them. Like,
yeah, I find that I've done that myself. Like normally when I go to a con, I've stopped getting prints unless it's something from an artist alley that I really like. I've stopped getting wall scrolls and stuff just because I'm either outgrown it or I don't like the images that they're printing out. So I've turned to enamel pins because they're easy to collect, they look cool, and you can get one based off of your fandom, or you can get one that's an original art, essentially, and it looks really cool. So now I've got a board out in the living room, and of course y'all seen it's just a giant thing of pins, and it's
I love it.
Just mine alone versus what my husband has is filling up that board. And I bought two recently from Etsy. One, it's a space rocket in a bottle type thing. So like instead of a ship in a bottle, it's a spaceship in a bottle.
Nice.
And then I have one where it's the state of Florida, and then it has the state flowers on the inside and looks really, really pretty.
Cool.
So I've definitely found myself being all like, oh, I'm more likely to buy this online. But I was doing that prior.
Did you find you were impulse buying as much before prior, or is that more of a like, well, I'm not going to a con, so I can just, I mean, that's kind of nice, so I'm going to get it, as opposed to like, I need to save.
I was impulse buying at cons because they're more in my face, and I was like, ooh, gimme. Whereas now I'm a little bit more decisive on what I get, because I am also still aware that while we are fortunate in our working area, I should say, I don't want to go overboard. And also I was not sure. I was like, I want to get this, but where am I going to display it? This kind of also leads me into a good question, mostly for you, Hannah. Mel, you can answer it too, but do you prefer buying general or generic art from online, or do you think getting an art piece from an actual artist, Etsy or their own store, is better, or do you think it's just personal taste?
You mean professional art versus fan art? Or
no, well, like the kind you go to like Bed Bath & Beyond and you just get that like 30-piece art canvas that probably 50, 100 other people and have
you mean, do I want hotel artwork or like original artwork drawn by an artist?
Yeah, but fan art. Yeah.
I feel like it's up to personal discretion. I mean, like if your house is more for the sake of who else is going to be in it and like marinating in your space, and you don't want to be too like in their face about this is me and how I express myself with my personal interest, then it's nice to have something pretty and generic. So I'm not going to knock pretty and generic because it's like that's for guests, you know. But I like having stuff that I can be happy every time I look at it. It is my house. I'm paying the rent for it. I want to hang, you know, I have I have freaking 2 pictures of fiends from The Witcher in my hallway.
Yes!
whoever comes into my house is gonna have to look at these 3-eyed beasts in my hall as soon as they come in the door.
So interesting.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's definitely like, so right now we have mostly, at least as far as, we have so much art we still have not hung up just because we're trying to find the right frames and stuff because we're being picky in that sense. But
yeah, that's the same struggle we've got.
Probably the most, yeah, with as far as like kind of more like generic paintings or more just like, I don't know, like, I don't typically go for the ones that like you can just go buy at like Walmart and stuff like that, you know, like, because don't get me wrong, there's some that I actually really do like, but then I'm like, it's kind of one of those things that's like you said, like, I know probably like 100 other people are gonna have the same thing, and I'm kind of just like, well, then it doesn't feel that special, like, but I will say on other things, like we have, and we're trying to find the right frame for it because we have a serial graph of a Thomas Kincaid painting. And I want it, and it's gorgeous, and it's huge though. Siri thought I was talking to her. She's like, I found this. No. And so, but it's huge. Like, it is literally going to take up a whole wall in our house. And that's why I try to find the right frame because I know it's going to be big. But as far as everything else, it's all my nerdy shit. Like, I mean, this is my living room, and there's, you know, Cowboy Bebop right there in like dead center. So, because that's how we roll in the Shire. So,
I found that I used to have that mentality that the office and bedroom could be personalized, and like the living room kitchen area kind of need to be a little bit more presentable, like you said, Hannah, to like guests that were coming in. And over the years, I've partly kind of grown out of that because I'm like, well, I really want to showcase all this stuff that I've bought, and I'm running out of space in my in the office to display this. And also, I'm really having a hard time spending $50 on a generic painting that, again, 100 other people probably have. So I ended up finally, after much discussion from my husband going, just do it, posting everything that we have now in our living room area with a few
I love it so much.
Photos.
Yeah.
It's nice. I love it. I want to rearrange some of them to kind of categorize and organize them a little bit, but
we have
lazy.
Like, so we've got in our house we have Cowboy Bebop right here in the middle of our living room. Then I have my painting of Matt Ryan as John Constantine right here to the,
which is the one your friend did, and it's amazing.
Which is the one my friend did, and it's amazing. Then I have a Legend of Zelda one over here. And then in our hallway, we have a wolf's head, like from The Witcher, and it just looks badass. And it literally looks like just a statue, you know, on the wall. But I'm like, I don't care, it's cool. Like,
I mean, why not? There are some
but then,
fan
like,
arts
in my
that
kitchen,
I found that are just
yeah. But then in my kitchen, I've got like old ad from like Chevrolet. Just because, like, I'm like, it feels like my kitchen, so I want this in here. Like, so it's like my nerdy stuff, and then I'm like, I'm a sophisticated lady, like, in my kitchen. So, you know, it's whatever. It's your house, decorated how you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we've grown out of that phase of, like, everything has to be, or everything outside has to be for somebody else, and, like, we've grown up now that we're just like, screw it. I'm the one looking at it, especially now more so than ever where you're stuck at home and you're like, you know what? This is mine. This is mine. This is mine. The only reason my bedroom currently isn't more decorated is half the stuff that originally was in here got lost in 2016 during the hurricane. Because the tree and the water and So, but I'm really thinking of redecorating it, but at the same time, I don't want to get more stuff if we have to move for whatever reason.
Yeah.
That's my mentality.
then it's just you run out of room and you're just like, well,
Yes.
I feel like we've
And I do
already
wanna
run
put
out of
more
room.
hole in the wall. Yeah. So next question, mostly for Mel, but Hannah, you can pop in on this too. Mel, you're an English words. You're an English major.
English. Sí, señor.
English. I can't talk. Words.
It's okay.
So you're an
It's
English
fine.
major. Would you consider writing an art form?
Yes. I would. I think
What
I think
about
there's
fanfic
two
writing?
types. I honestly I would. Because I'm of the mentality that art is subjective, so I think anyone can make anything art just about. I've always felt like that, but now I will say there are two very different types of writing. There's definitely like scientific writing, and that is very like it is more math involved than art, I believe. And then there's, creative writing, and that can be, a multitude of things. But yeah, I definitely would consider writing art. That's how you get things like plays and things like that. It's all words, but it's presented in a fashion to where it can be consumed by the entertainer. Like even just a good novel, like heck, even a good cookbook could be considered art. And that it's like you can read and also you can create it at the same time. But yeah.
Double art.
Sorry,
'Cause I feel
microphone.
like a lot of people have started writing, and I had. How dare you abuse it?
I know. I hit
But
it
I've
all
seen
the
a lot
time.
of people who. I had one person that they said that they find drawing is more universal than, say, writing or any other type of art. And they're not saying that those other types of arts are bad or terrible or irrelevant. It's just they're saying drawing, per se, is a little bit more universal, and you don't have to be necessarily good at it. You can be drawing stick figures, and the person next to you who's probably a professional artist can look at that stick figure and go, oh, I get what you're saying, or I get what you're doing.
Yeah, I can see both sides of that. Like, I still feel like, with some things, like, even let's just take it a step, back. Even a bad fan fiction, someone's gonna read. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, which one was it?
Even if it's like, oh god, I can't get through it, someone's gonna read. Just saying, that's how you got 50 Shades of Grey. Just saying. It was literally a bad fan fiction that she's like, no, this isn't actually about Twilight. It's now this.
Wait, wasn't Twilight like a fanfic, a semi-fanfic based off of Harry Potter, sort of? Or
I think you're
inspired by Harry
thinking
Potter?
of the City of Bones. Is that what it's called?
Maybe. I remember hearing about City of Bones.
I think that's more right. I don't know exactly. I just know for sure about the
They made
other
movies
one.
out of both of them. There was the one movie that was made that had like John Rice Myers in it. That was the one that was based on the Harry Potter fan fiction. And then there was 50 Shades of Grey was based on Twilight. So I don't.
Okay.
Oh, dude, I remember.
That's amazing.
Side note, I remember when those books came out and everyone was talking about them, like 50 Shades of Grey and all that. Everyone was talking about them. And I was just like...
Oh, I remember that too.
Yeah, I just remember everyone talking about it, and I was just like, I'm very picky when it comes to books I want to read anyway. And they were like, you need to read it. And I was like, okay, whatever. But I didn't read it. So finally, because people wouldn't shut up about it, I was like, okay, let me just see what you all are talking about. Dude, I hate to be like this. I couldn't even finish the book because it was so poorly written.
What?
But no, I couldn't. I was like,
oh, no.
I could not finish it because I was like, as an English major, I was like, okay, it's one thing it's one thing for it to be a fan fiction on the internet and it's not actually like published. I'm like, did you even have an editor? Did you have someone look at this and go, man, this source material needs help? That's very harsh. But I really, that is an opinion that I would die on, is that it is not well written. Like, it needs help.
No, I've heard a lot of people say that, like, other than the fan service that it provides, it's a terrible book.
It's just a light porn novel.
Because like I've read, when I heard about 50 Shades of Grey, I was already reading the Anita Blake series, which is worse. It's not worse. Oh no.
I don't know. Everyone froze for a second for me. I think we might be good now.
Okay.
Are we good now? Good. I think we're good now. Okay, cool. Technology.
Okay. Playing catch up. But no, I was gonna say, 50 Shades of Grey for me, like I never read it, and I didn't care to read it because everyone just kept talking about like the hot scenes, if you will. And I'm sitting here like, I've already been reading Anita Blake for a while, and those have got some hot scenes in it, so I don't care. So let's see, what else? Let's do a few little extra quick questions here. Do you, to kind of go along with like, do you consider writing an art form? Would you consider digital art art? Because I've heard some people go, oh, well, just because you drew it on a digital component, so it's not art.
I have been seeing this.
Like a pencil or a pen.
Yeah, I've been seeing this lately, and it makes me so mad because I'm like, you don't know anything that you're talking about. Like, it still requires a skill level. Like, it still requires time, patience, like frustration, like all the things that go into normal art. Okay, just saying. Yeah, I've seen that comment lately too, like, oh, well, you did it digitally. And then I watched this video where someone was like, oh, but can you do it like for real? And then they were like, slapped a paper on the table, and then they just started like drawing the exact same thing, and they were like, yeah, it frustrates me. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. Shut up.
They don't. And I think what they're thinking is that like in digital art, you're able to blend colors easier. You're able to fix mistakes a little bit easier, which yes, that is fantastic, versus on paper and pencil with markers and color pencils, which are a little harder to kind of go back and go, oops, I messed up.
Yeah.
But it's still the same thing.
Well, and I think too, I think more so what it is that that the people who make these comments don't like about it is they see it and they go, because you could do, you know, like where you basically do symmetry. And so you've already done it on one side and you could just flip it on the other. So like, oh, it's cheating. I think that's really more of the mentality of why they say that comment. It's because they're like, oh, you're cheating because you could just like flip and mirror it and whatever. And it's like the easy way out or whatever. And I'm like, dude, it still takes hours.
Easy. It's convenient.
Well, it's not easy. Just because I spent 20 minutes trying to get this damn eyebrow right, okay, doesn't mean that like I'm taking the easy way out. So, bye.
Hannah, I know you do a lot of stuff digitally. Do you draw something if somebody commissions you, or you're creating a new item for your shop? Do you hand draw it on paper and pencil first and then scan it in and then digitally do it, or do you do it digitally only at first?
I do straight up digital from the sketch, and then like I'll do like a really loose sketch, which is the most hideous thing on the planet. It's like Gumby Man. And then and then I'll do a slightly like more tightened up sketch on top of that, and then I'll do the line art on top of that, so it'll take me like 500 years to finish it. When I'm drawing with a pencil and paper, which is usually, I only do that if I'm trying to unwind, because that's easier for me than drawing digitally. All these people are like, drawing digitally is so easy. I'm like, no, drawing digitally is a pain. Drawing traditionally is fun. So when I draw traditionally, I'll just start with the line art. I won't even do a sketch. So people are like, how the hell did you do that? Where's your sketch layer? I'm like, what sketch layer? Like, So no, digitally is harder, but that's what I do when I'm doing new merchandise. I'm like, if I have it in my head, I put it down on the traditional paper, then it's never going to look the same on digital. So I should start digital and go all the way through digital so that it ends up the way that I want it to be, start to finish. And it's
that's fair. So I know at the beginning of the whole conversation we talked about like kind of where we possibly saw our art skills, our art levels at. What do you feel about your current level, if you will, and what do you hope to improve or focus on in the future or further down the road?
I think my art's okay. I mean, like, I'd like to see improvement. I'd like to be able to sit down for more than like 30 minutes at a time and concentrate on something that involves like something dynamic, like multiple characters maybe, or like a background. I'd love to be able to draw really beautiful, detailed backgrounds, because right now I have, you know, ADHD where I'm drawing for like 20 minutes. I'm gonna make a beautiful forest, and I draw like one tree, and my brain's like, I'm tired now, time to die. So
yeah, I relate to that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get out of the habit of not doing background too.
I feel like sometimes there's like, I feel like right now I've gotten worse just because I haven't been doing it lately. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure when I go back to like try again, I'm gonna be so frustrated that I'm not gonna want to do it, because I'm gonna be like, oh, I can't get anything right, you know. But I feel like I want to get better at drawing bodies, because I think I've gotten a good like base like face down pretty well, and I just want to get better at bodies. Like I want to be able to do more of like a slight pose, or even just like from the waist up. Like right now I feel like I can do about a face and a neck and shoulders, and that's it. And then my brain is like, nah, the rest, who cares? Like it's just a face. But then I'm like, no, I want to do more. So I want to get better at like bodies, drawing bodies, because they're hard. And hands. Mm-hmm. I hate hands.
I can't. I try so hard. Them. I cannot draw hands.
I love them, but I hate them. I'm like, okay, I want to draw like this pose, and I'm like, how the hell do I do that?
I drew a hand one time, and I was like, this looks great. And then I realized that the hand compared to the pose I was doing, the hand was backward. And I was just like,
yes,
that always.
This wasn't pencil and paper. This wasn't digital either. So I was like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. But then it's like you could just make it more anime. So if it was backwards, you'd just be like, you know? Get over here with that shit.
No, it's supposed to be that way.
Of course it was. It's an anime now. Nothing matters.
No, I want to improve. I'm kind of the same way. Like, I have a basic understanding of bodies, but I find that I draw my bodies very static. And I want to get them to where they're more fluid.
Dynamic
there's more movement.
Yes,
more dynamic movement to them. I kind of laid off drawing for quite a while, so I know my skill and my ability has lessened, or it's just kind of stopped at a certain point. And I'm hoping that if I continue drawing, it kind of gets a little bit better. I'm not looking to get professional. I'm not looking to sell my art just because, again, it's strictly a hobby. Like, I thought I wanted to do it as a career. Thought I wanted to go to school for it, but then discovered that no, I have more fun doing it as a hobby. So I'm hoping I can get better. There's little pieces here and there. Checking on the thunder or checking on the cats?
Cats.
Gotta make sure they're not destroying stuff.
I'm pretty sure they are, but I'm not gonna worry about it. So what happens when you have 4 of them?
Who needs kids?
I don't need kids. I have cats. They're my kids.
Yeah. Same. So, Hannah, because I do want to focus a little bit here near the end for on your stuff. So you have your own store. You have Animation Studios on Etsy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said before, you sell primarily keychains. Do your keychains, like, what type of keychains, I guess, art-wise do you focus on? Do you focus on like stuff that you're like, I like this fandom, so I'm going to promote this, or do you promote it as, I like this, but I feel like other people are going to like this too?
Well, a little of both. Like, I will sometimes try to get into something that I feel like I would be able to relate to a lot of people and sell well if I were to have a better understanding of it, because I don't like to make things that I don't have any understanding of, because I've met people who will just like make what's popular even if they don't know what it is. And so you go up to their table and you're like, oh, it's, you know, XYZ character from this thing that I love, and you know, you're really excited about it, and then they're like, huh, you're gonna have to point out because I don't know which character that is. And it just kills your enthusiasm for it, even if the thing that they made is really nice.
I've had that happen.
So yeah, it sucks. So I'm like, I'm not gonna make something unless I have some understanding of it. But like some things, it's like there's so much of Critical Role. There's so much Critical Role. From the beginning. So I'm like desperately trying to listen to all this Critical Role to like get caught up, and then people come to my table and they see my charms that I've made, and they're like, oh, spoiler for the most recent episode. I'm like 400 hours behind you. I wish
you need a little note next to all your charms for Critical Role, because I haven't caught up. Don't spoil. Spoiler for no.
But like for the most part, I'll do things that I have a knowledge of, that I am passionate about, that even if it doesn't sell really well, I don't mind having in my inventory until it does sell. That's my thing. Is like, if I don't mind looking at it, then I don't mind having it, even if, you know, a bunch of people aren't gonna buy it. But I've been pretty lucky in that regard. Like, Dragon Age has sold really well, and The Witcher has sold really well, especially recently since the release of the Netflix version of The Witcher.
Do you feel like the Netflix series has kind of helped bump sales on those particular items?
Yeah, it definitely has, which is a little weird because some of the characters that are selling well are characters that are not in the Netflix series, but like the popularity of the games went up because of the Netflix series. So like,
majorly.
People are learning about the characters from the games, and then they're like, ooh, I actually really like both versions of these. So they're coming in and they're like, I just learned about The Witcher and I'm really excited about it. And I'm like, I'm really excited that you're excited, you know?
Yes. You're like, let me tell you some things.
But yeah, I have some stuff that like only I know about, and so I know it's never ever going to sell. I'm always amazed whenever somebody comes up and is like, "Is that Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy?" I'm like, "Yes, it is!" Like,
dude, like as far as like your Dragon Age stuff goes, like because I've never played Dragon Age, but Jeffrey has played like all of them, I think, and you don't see Dragon Age stuff. Like, I never have.
No.
Like, and so when we saw that you had Dragon Age stuff, I was like, dude, that's so cool. Like, Jeffrey was like, oh my gosh, she's got Dragon Age characters. Like, he was so excited because you just don't see it.
Which is weird because it's like a popular game series as far as I know.
A very popular game series.
Yeah, I guess the outfits are just difficult to draw or something.
Maybe.
Possibility.
I don't know.
I mean, you drew Molly Mock from Critical Role. How fun was that drawing his outfit?
Oh my gosh.
Many colors.
I love
many colors.
I love his outfit. I would love to have his outfit in real life, just saying.
I saw somebody who like actually hand embroidered all the details.
If I had the skill, I'd do it, but I don't have that skill. I don't even know how to sew.
Sewing is hard.
Sewing is hard. That's another craft that I find a lot of people like. They are very much people who do like needle felt, embroidery, as well as just making costumes in general. They're doing pretty well as well. From what I've seen, they're getting a lot of commissions. There's one person that makes a very special type of I won't say a plushie, but a doll.
Yeah.
But they're going pretty well. But let's see what else. I got a question for you. Do you have any for your store? Do you have any upcoming charms that are in the works that you want to talk about?
Well, I'm I was approached by a local game store that said that they were interested in carrying anything that I made that was like tabletop related. So I've been thinking about different like tabletop related sort of generic D&D designs to add into the shop in addition to sort of fandom things. And then we were talking earlier about Drizzt and the novel from the 80s. Yeah, so something like that would be really neat to add in.
Dude, please make a Displacer Beast.
Oh, Displacer Beast would be really cool, like D&D monsters.
Make a that would be really It's my favorite monster. Not because I have one that looks like it or anything, you know, but
I feel like you can come out with a gelatinous cube and it still look amazing and funny.
I don't know about this. Sounds like fun. I've been wanting to do more creatures. Like I was thinking of like a video game like pets series maybe, and then like I wanted to draw more animals because I have a lot of people and not a lot of animals. But everyone's like, "Oh, I love your keychains that you included." I'm like, "So y'all like my animals? Okay, I'll just do more animals."
Dude, the one like the peep one that you gave me, it's literally on my keychain all the time. Where Peep has the the wanna play Gwent, that one. I literally carry it with me everywhere. And I'm like, it's so cute.
I have the one that you gave me with where she's got the coffee cup and she's yawning and stretching. I actually have someone see that. It's on my purse and have someone see it at a store and they're like, "Oh my god, I love it. Where'd you get it?" And I went, "Here," and I like gave them your website.
Thank you.
Oh, now here's a good one. I know we're all fans of this. Yashahime is going to be coming out this fall. Do you think you're going to start pushing a little bit of Inuyasha keychains, or are you just kind of that's more fan?
I don't know. See, I don't.
Dude.
It's all about what would look good in my style. I'm not going to force something that I don't think would look good in my style. I love Inuyasha. I don't know if I can draw him to look like himself. I've drawn him before, but I don't know how he translates to like people who are fans of the series. If they see him in my sort of like Marvel Comics looking style, they're gonna be like, "Who the hell is that?" Like,
I think that'd be kind of cool, though. I don't know. I'd have to.
I could try.
I would definitely be curious. I would be curious to see, but I'm sure it would look great. Because that's
I can certainly try.
That's one of those things. I feel like that. Sometimes that artists get hung up on is like, oh, well, I don't know if people would like that in my style, but I don't know. To me, it's like, I feel like if you're a real fan of something and you see it done in a different style, you're still going to appreciate it because you're like, that's so cool. Like, I don't know. Like, I love when people take like Sailor Moon and freaking just do all this cool stuff to her and make her like a ninja princess. I'm like, that's badass. Like,
yeah, you know, the drawing challenge they had for Sailor Moon?
Oh my god, that was one of any of things. I loved looking at that. I loved looking at those. I was like, this is so cool. Yeah.
Do any of y'all use any of those drawing challenges as a way to practice? Because I find that I like using them as a way to practice, but at the same time, it's also because I'm like, that looks cool. I want to try it.
I personally have not, just because like especially with like isn't there, I want to say there's like a month that they do sort of like NaNoWriMo with writing, but it's for drawing, and it's literally like you draw every day for a month and there's a prompt.
Inktober.
Thank you, Inktober. Yeah. And I've seen stuff like that and I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and then I chicken out every single time because I'm like, there's no like, I chicken out. I'm like, I want to, but then I'm like, there's no way I could do it.
With Inktober, I know for a fact that I'm not going to have the energy to do the challenge every single day, so I will go through the prompts of whatever like Tober challenge that they have and be like, okay, I like this one, and I like this one, and I like this one. So for this month, I'm going to do these 3, and that's all I'm going to set for myself. And if I get those done, maybe I can do something else. But if I don't, then I'm just happy for getting these 3. And the one that I love doing every October is not the Inktober. There's like a Monster-tober or a Gore-tober that are really, really fun to do. So
nice.
The different challenges for the October drawing, instead of just always like bird or apple, like draw slime.
Yeah.
You know?
I've seen prompts where like you have the general Inktober, which is the one that comes out every year, and then you have people who are like, here's my list for Inktober that's more of a specific theme based. Like there's one right now from a really good artist that I follow on DeviantArt and Tumblr and everything. She's got multiple platforms that she posts to, but she's also professional. I think she's over in somewhere in Europe or Sweden. I don't remember. But she's really, really good. And she made up her own Inktober, but it's not necessarily in October, where it's a set of bird species, but you have to draw them like dragons.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're really, really cool. Some of them you look at and you're like, that's kind of terrifying. And some of them you look at and you go, huh, okay, cool. And not terrifying as in, oh god, it's ugly, as in oh god, it's going to eat me.
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like things like Inktober, things like drawing your style challenges, I think are really good ways of improving on our art skills as well. Do you feel like you want to try and branch out from fandom art? Like, I like drawing this and focus on non-traditional, or not non-traditional, but more traditional stuff like general humans, general environment, or are you happy with where you are in terms of just drawing fan art? This is for everybody.
Mel?
Because I feel like I'm still very much to where, like, I tend to, this is what I've noticed myself doing lately, is I save pictures of stuff that I like, and it can be like actual, like, real picture, or it can be like a picture of someone else's, like, art. And I take pictures and I save them because I'm like, oh, I want to maybe try to do something kind of like this, or I want to try and see if I can, like, trace this later so that I can, I don't know. It's kind of, I feel like right now, if I was to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to focus more on more traditional stuff. Right now, I'm just more focused on, I need to get better in general, I feel like. So it's for me, it's more of, I just need to do it more until I feel more comfortable. And then maybe I could start trying to copy certain styles or, you know, things like that.
That's fair.
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Oh, I was just going to say that, like, right now, I know that fandom stuff sells. Because fandom is a universal sort of thing that people enjoy, finding things that, like I said before, you know, it makes you happy, so you buy it. And, you know, fandom is something that will make people happy because they're like, oh, I enjoy this media, so I want to collect things that have to do with this media because looking at this will make me happy. So for right now, with things so uncertain as they are, I don't feel like it's the proper time for me to start taking really big chances at being like, well, I'm phasing out my fandom stuff, and now I'm going to focus on everything original. So everybody please take a chance on me and, you know, buy all my original stuff.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I feel like that's right in your position. Like you're profiting from this, and like it'd be hard to be like, well, thanks for buying all this fan stuff, but here's this general original stuff. Would you feel like doing something like that personally, just because you can, just for yourself?
Yeah, eventually I'd love to start moving into more original properties. Like I'd love to start doing more with like Peep and Prue and Eggy, and like doing more things based on like characters that I've created from either original universes or like generic fantasy realms where it's like, yes, this is my
more Wraith.
Wraith is a fandom thing.
I know.
Plus, I don't think anybody would want to buy anything of Wraith. He kind of looks like a serial killer. But
what you talking about?
I love him.
But like, this is my, you know, my ranger, and so people are like, "Ooh, ranger! I like D&D," and so they buy ranger for Wall, you know. But that's something that's a very niche sort of interest for people who are like, I like original art of other people's original characters. That's something that some people do like and collect, which is very, very cool. But it's not something that can be counted on at a time when you know you got to pay the bills and there's no cons.
I will say, I do love to see though people's like, I love to see people's like OCs and stuff from like D&D. I love it. And when people, especially when like artists can draw their own, I'm like, yes, more of this, please. But yeah, I love to see it. But then it's one of those things. It's one of those things like, yeah, I love to see it, but then I also get like why some people would be like, oh, it's cool to look at, but then they wouldn't buy it because there's not like, especially if it's something like that's not, let's say that's just that you're never going to hear their session or you're never going to hear like any, so you might know of the character, but you can't really form like more of that, like you said, more of like a fandom if there's not, let's just say like they don't have a podcast or they don't have like, you just know based on what the artist has like kind of just said before like putting the picture out there. So I don't know, but I love that kind of stuff. So I get it. I could see both of like, yeah, it's too risky to take that chance, but then it's also like, yeah, but you never know. There could be that one person who's like, oh, this is so cool, I'm just gonna buy it anyway,
That's true. I know at one point, I don't know if you still do it or if it's just an occasional thing. You do custom keychains as well, right?
Yeah, like 3 a year.
That's fair. Because I know it's pricey to create them or to get them made, so.
And I have very low energy to begin with, so to be like, well, this is just going to one person is like, I could start it or I could take a nap. Like, it's a horrible way to think about it. It's a terrible mentality to think about it that way. Because I love drawing people's original characters, but then my brain is like, you have so much work to do. Are you going to do one that's going to sell to like a bunch of people, or are you going to do one that's like for one particular person, and then like you'll also have to do the one that sells to a bunch of people? And my brain is like, that's 2 choices. That's time to sleep. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that can be tough. I know a few other artists on Etsy who do custom stuff, and they have original stuff that they've already created. The original stuff is going to be like, say it's a pen, for example. A normal pen can be like between $10 and $15 depending on the size. And then a custom pen, they're going to be like, this is going to be $30+. Because not only do they have to create the design if you don't already have one for them, but then they have to send it in, and then they have to pay to have that die created to create the pen. And then they have to pay for the amount of pins that they're purchasing. Mel, I think you sent the thunder our way because I'm starting to hear it over here.
Uh-oh.
I was hearing a little bit of it here too.
I hope not.
Yeah. But yeah, I think stuff like that. What about Kickstarter? I know a few other artists have done Kickstarters. I recently backed a Kickstarter for a really cool enamel pin that is going to be coming out, I think, in October. Could be very wrong on that, but have you tried or ever thought about doing a Kickstarter for a larger project?
Personally, I mean, here's the thing. I completely understand doing a Kickstarter for pens because I have done runs of pens where I had like limited edition 25 and it cost me between $300 and $500 for 25 pens.
Oof.
So I'm like, yeah, I can definitely understand doing a Kickstarter for that. But my main source of income is charms. And knowing what I know about, the process of getting charms made, I feel like running a Kickstarter for charms is deceptive because like just do pre-orders and you'll get enough to buy twice as many as you had pre-ordered, and then you can make back by selling the others as they sell. Like, take a chance on yourself and it'll pay off. I'm not saying that like you're like, oh, if you don't have the money up front for charms, then you're like a bad person or a bad salesman, because not everybody has the money up front for charms. But I just don't feel that charms, having had charms made and having had pens made, it is significantly harder and more expensive to get pins made. So I understand using Kickstarter for pins, not so much for charm. So I will not back a charm Kickstarter.
Yeah. I feel like it's especially with Kickstarter, because like sometimes you get the sense of like, I tell people like to be careful with Kickstarter sometimes, because there are ones that like, yes, they have a really awesome idea and they need help getting it off the ground. They're never realistically gonna be able to get it off the ground without help. Those are the kind that I try to look for. Then there's ones that I feel like they're doing it just because they know they can get extra when it's something that's like you said, like a charm, that it's just like, is that really, like, did you really need to do that? You've already done other stuff, you know, like, I feel like with certain things, like, there's a really awesome, oh gosh, what's his name? Y'all know him. He does like the woodworking stuff, and I think he did a Kickstarter because he wanted to start doing
Arcanic Artistry?
Yeah, Dakota. He does amazing stuff, and like I know he's wanting to get, because dude, I love it. So he was wanting to get, like all, you know, he's wanting to get like more stuff or whatever it was. And so he had all these big plans, but like he needed a Kickstarter because like otherwise it's not going to get off the ground. And wood is expensive.
It is.
I don't care. Wood
Mike
is so
expensive.
Like wood is so expensive.
Like $30, $100 later.
It's so expensive,
out,
but
buddy.
it's like, but yeah, stuff like that. I feel like, especially when it's material that you know is like either hard to produce or hard to get, that's just, it's not going to be, it's less feasible to just be doing it all on your own than say, you know, other things that, you know, okay, you can have this like readily made by like such and such time. Like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes people are a little too like gung-ho to just be like, I'm gonna do a Kickstarter, and then they don't, you know, I don't know, they don't really think everything through. I don't know.
No, that's a good assessment. I'm trying to think here. What if they're doing prints? Like, we understand the keychains, pins are expensive, like, because of the process it takes to create them, whether it's hard enamel or soft enamel. But what do you think about things like prints or stickers? Do you think they should do Kickstarters for those? Or
Kickstarter
do you think they should
stickers?
just do pre-orders? Maybe not stickers, maybe things like a vinyl.
I got like 300, 400 vinyl stickers for $80. You should not need a Kickstarter for stickers.
Yeah.
Do you think a
Kickstarter
pre-order
for
type thing would be better?
You're just trying to get money.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
I kind of agree. Because like even now, like people who never used to do like you know, making t-shirts and stuff, they have a machine now that you could just go and buy and start doing them yourself. Like,
yeah, it's the same thing with stickers. Like the Cricut.
Like same thing. The Cricut. Yeah. Like go get your own.
I can do vinyl
like
and stickers.
It's not hard. I don't know. Same with like, you got a printer, use it. You know. just buy a different. Just buy a different paper, and it's like, use your own printer.
Yeah, and I'm really aware that ink can be expensive, but
yeah.
For regular prints, you can just buy yourself a fancy printer and then like print off your own from home and make back the money that you spent on the printer by selling those prints at a con or online or wherever. I don't think you should do a Kickstarter for prints either. That seems superfluous to me.
That just seems like you said earlier, you're just trying to take money from people for no reason.
What is a specialty print? Like a
like
larger than normal
gold foil prints for like $5 a piece.
Oh really?
Something like that.
Those are so pretty.
I think if it's maybe something that like, I think if it's something you wouldn't normally do, or let's say if it's something for like, it's going to a charity or something like that, now that's totally different. Like, I feel like do whatever you want, you know, if you're just trying to like donate to charity, then you can do whatever. But if it's just like, oh, I'm just doing this to get money for myself and no one else, then I don't think it's right.
Right, yeah.
That's fair. What about let's see here. Oh, I had it. My brain just did a fart. If any of y'all come up with anything, by all means, like talking over.
Stretch.
Oh, that was a heck of a stretch.
She does kitty yoga.
Apparently. No, my brain went dead. I can't remember the question now.
Sorry. I probably didn't help.
No, I saw a cat. My brain went to kitty.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
me too. Kitty brain.
Yeah.
Then I guess at this point we could probably wrap it up. Would any of y'all like to add on or plug in or anything like that?
I'm too shy.
You're too shy. Now, Mel, come now. I know you do some streaming.
I do.
You want to tell the
I
people
do.
where you stream?
Okay, I stream at twitch.tv/bboots. That is BIBY Boots. I stream mainly on Wednesdays is my main day. And typically it's Warzone. So I have Warzone Wednesdays. and then last night for the first time I streamed and I played Minecraft on a Monday. So my husband made the joke, I'm gonna have Minecraft Monday and Warzone Wednesdays, and that's gonna be my thing. And I was like, no.
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with this.
But yeah, so and then eventually, like I said, we are gonna start streaming. My husband and I are gonna start streaming when we paint minis. And I feel like it's probably gonna be like a Saturday or something. I don't know, but Saturday is typically a day we're both off, and I want to do it together. So that should be in the works in the future. But
nice.
Yeah, that's me. So.
And Hannah.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course,
you can find me.
Sorry, go ahead. The stage is yours, madam.
You can find me on Etsy at Hanimation Studios. You can find me on Instagram at Hanimation Studios, on Facebook at Hanimation Studios Art, and on Twitter at Hanimation Art. But you will not find me on Twitter because I don't use the tweets.
I'm
also on Twitter at BB Boots. Same thing. But
and then for me, I occasionally stream whenever I get the fancy to. You can find me on Instagram on IsonosDen. You can also find me on Tumblr at IsonosDen, and IsonosDen is on Twitter as well. But unless you want depressing rants, I don't really post anything on there. I vent on Twitter, and
yeah, you do.
Listens, so.
It's okay. Hey, I see your tweets. I see those tweets.
Thank you.
I know. But then most of the time I'm like, no, Eddie, you're wrong. I love you, but bad Eddie. But I get it. You gotta vent somewhere.
Somewhere. And then let's see. My husband, I know he streams on Monday and Thursdays, I think. And I know
that sounds
Friday,
right.
I know Friday we have our D&D
Friday
sessions.
D&D, which is pretty much all of us. And my husband, who is not here, he's at work saving lives. That nerd. Yeah, and eventually, once we get it all set up, we have 2 sessions that we run, and eventually we're gonna get it to where one is on Mike's channel and one is on my channel. My campaign is gonna end up being on my channel, but that's gonna take a lot of setting up, and I'm gonna get Mike over here at the house to help me do it. So.
Put them IT skills to use.
I am, because I know I'm gonna need it, because it's a lot more involved when it comes to Discord and all that, like a group. So I want to get it right. So
it is, and
I'm still learning. I baby when it comes to Twitch and setting everything up. I was proud of myself though. Last night was the first time I set everything up by myself, and I did it by myself, and it was fine. So
see, you got this.
I'm an adult.
And then I think every other Friday we have Hannah's campaign, which is so much fun. Like Mel, yours
So
is fun,
fun.
too, and Hannah's yours is fun too, because like it's two completely different paths, and it's.
Oh yeah, super
I
fun.
just thank you for letting me bring back my original character because I missed her.
We love you.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. So, but yeah, art during a pandemic. It's thriving, I guess.
It's
It's there.
some art forms are doing good, and some art forms are. I mean, if you're in the theater, you're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the other areas, but it's fine.
I'm so
No, it's
bad.
fine. It's fine.
If you are any other art
mean-
form other than drawing or media, we still very much appreciate you.
Yes, we do. And we still will find some way to consume.
Yeah, agreed.
Consume.
Consume your art that you are creating, not consume you.
Yes.
That is like.
Why not?
That'd be an interesting feat. That would be an interesting feat to do.
Why not?
Well, the theater
as
people aren't doing anything. I guess we could eat them first. So
Yeah.
performing arts are dead anyway, so it doesn't make them zombies.
No.
we all have
We're
stake in the
divulging into
performing
chaos
arts.
now.
We're not making fun of you. We're making fun of ourselves. So this is
Exactly.
Wait, we have stakes? Where?
we have we have stakes in the performing arts. Yes,
Sorry.
Like I
performing
said,
arts
free
are
market.
the stakes at this point.
Well,
I like
guess-
mine
I guess
medium rare.
I like mine through the heart.
Oh,
Oh, dear.
vampires. Vampires.
Oh, wait there. And on that loopy note, I want to thank everybody who has tuned in to listen to us ramble and rant and talk and discuss. Hannah, Mel, I want to thank y'all so much for joining us on this evening. And Mel, the storm's gone.
I know, thank God, dude. It was freaking me out for a while because it was literally like I said, sounded like it was in the backyard, and I was like freaking out. I was like, this is
It's
not
in
cool.
your house.
Oh, no. No.
Oh, well, thank you all so much for tuning in. Come check us out next time. Find out when our next one's going to be. We don't know because we're sporadic and random like that.
Yep.
Hopefully we come out with something soon. We love y'all. Enjoy it. And stay nerdy.
Hey. Bye.